Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with the great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. Turn to Mark 13:24, and we're going to read from 24 to 27. It says, "But in those days, after the tribulation, the sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars of heaven shall fall, and the powers that are in the heavens shall be shaken. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in the clouds with great power and glory. And then shall he send his angels, and shall gather together his elect from the four winds, and from the uttermost part of the earth to the uttermost part of heaven." There you go again. It says, "But in those days after the tribulation." And Jesus is talking about his return. Once it's after the tribulation, that's Mark's account. And in Matthew, it says immediately after the tribulation. The NIV and other versions don't say tribulation, they say troubles. It just depends on what version they're reading out of. But the King James Version says after the tribulation of those days. Turn to 1 Corinthians chapter 15, starting at verse 51. "Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. For the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed." Now turn to 1 Thessalonians 4:16 through 18. "For the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trump of God. And the dead in Christ shall rise first. Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and so shall we forever be with the Lord. Wherefore, comfort one another with these words." There we have, at the last trump, the trumpet shall sound with the trump of God. So, very clearly, these verses are talking about the last trumpet. The last trumpet will sound, and this will happen when? Immediately after the tribulation. Turn to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3. "Let no man deceive you by any means. For that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposed and exalts himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sits in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things?" Okay, so there we see that. Do not be deceived, because that day will not come. What day is he talking about here? He's talking about the day of the Lord. The day of the Lord will not come until there is a falling away first, and the man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition.